Sidekick Media Services. We are your sidekick in business for social media, video production, and more. Find out more at sidekickmediaservices.com.
I'm your pal in the mainstream media.
And I'm your Riz.
And you know, Riz, it takes years of strenuous, dedicated training before you're worthy to step inside a professional wrestling ring. But it takes even more time to develop complex, highly astute opinions about professional wrestling. Am I right?
That is correct. You know where we can find that?
Yes.
On Wrestling Ham.
That's right.
Sidekick Media Services. We are your sidekick in business for social media, video production, and more. Find out more at sidekickmediaservices.com.
Hello, friends. I'm your pal in the mainstream media.
And I'm your Riz.
And you know, Riz, it takes years of strenuous, dedicated training before you're worthy to step inside a professional wrestling ring. But it takes even more time to develop complex, highly astute opinions about professional wrestling. Am I right?
That is correct. You know where we can find that?
Yes.
On Wrestling Ham.
That's right.
Sidekick Media Services. We are your sidekick in business for social media, video production, and more. Find out more at sidekickmediaservices.com.
Hello, friends. I'm your pal in the mainstream media.
And I'm your Riz.
And you know, Riz, it takes years of strenuous, dedicated training before you're worthy to step inside a professional wrestling ring. But it takes even more time to develop complex, highly astute opinions about professional wrestling. Am I right?
That is correct. You know where we can find that?
Yes.
On Wrestling Ham.
That's right.
Sidekick Media Services. We are your sidekick in business for social media, video production, and more. Find out more at sidekickmediaservices.com.
Hello, friends. I'm your pal in the mainstream media.
And I'm your Riz.
And, you know, Riz, it takes years of strenuous, dedicated training before you're worthy to step inside a professional wrestling ring. But it takes even more time to develop complex, highly astute opinions about professional wrestling. Am I right?
That is correct. You know where we can find that?
Yes,
On the Wrestling Mayhem.
that's right.
Sidekick Media Services. We are your sidekick in business for social media, video production, and more. Find out more at sidekickmediaservices.com.
Hello, friends. I'm your pal in the mainstream media.
And I'm your Riz.
And, you know, Riz, it takes years of strenuous, dedicated training before you're worthy to step inside a professional wrestling ring. But it takes even more time to develop complex, highly astute opinions about professional wrestling. Am I right?
That is correct. You know where we can find that?
Yes,
On the Wrestling Mayhem.
that's right.
Sidekick Media Services. We are your sidekick in business for social media, video production, and more. Find out more at sidekickmediaservices.com.
Hello, friends. I'm your pal in the mainstream media.
And I'm your Riz.
And, you know, Riz, it takes years of strenuous, dedicated training before you're worthy to step inside a professional wrestling ring. But it takes even more time to develop complex, highly astute opinions about professional wrestling. Am I right?
That is correct. You know where we can find that?
Yes,
On the Wrestling Mayhem.
that's right.
This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com. This show is brought to you by Slice on Broadway, supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza. Production services by Sidekick Media Services. And listeners like you, supporting us at patreon.com/AwesomeCast. Time to get geeky, get awesome. It is the AwesomeCast. I'm Mike Sorg here in the Sorgatron Media Studios in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, ready to roll with you guys tonight. And with me tonight is the Podner from the Pod Cave, Dave Podner of the iPhoneography Podcast. How you doing, sir?
Doing good. Always glad to be here.
Excellent, excellent. And let's get into some awesome things with our awesome thing of the week. Dave, how about you go first?
Sorry about that. Sure, no problem at all. Now, this is something that was just teased as a Kickstarter today. So we don't know how much it's going to cost. I'm assuming it will be in the hundreds because they have similar lenses that's also in the hundreds. This is from Reflex. They make, similar to the Moment lenses I have, they make great lenses. They just announced that they're going to have a Kickstarter for their new lens, which is a 300 to 600 millimeter zoom lens for your iPhone.
Oh, wait, what?
It's 300 to 600 variable size for your iPhone.
So this is one of those like attachable kind of zoom lenses we can see from this
picture. You see there on the upper, it just attaches on. And so you're basically going to be there. It's going. This is just not 2x or 4x zoom. This is going to use the main sensor, so you have the biggest sensor possible. You can see the picture how freaking big that lens is going to be with all that glass. If you put down $1 now, you get early access. So, again, how much? But
that's again not knowing what the final cost is going to be.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Which is kind of a wild gamble in the long run.
Well, I've asked people if part of the iPhoneography podcast, do they, because they're the ones who shared. It's like, any idea how much it's going to cost? They said, well, their 250 millimeter lens, or their 200 and some millimeter lens is already like $200 and some dollars. And since this is variable, I'm assuming a significantly more amount of money.
Sure.
So this is really a niche of a niche. But if you do use your phone as primary for either video or, just taking pictures, and you need that super zoom, it's an option to look into. Now, of course, you're going to have to buy their case, which is $80. But if you're going to put out $400, $500 for a lens, they may throw it in for free.
You're like dedicated to the ecosystem at that point there, right?
Exactly.
And that is a special case that has the attachments, so that's such a large
right. So you can just screw it in.
Yeah, just screw it in, and it makes a little more sense there. So I am still like, I know we see kind of the but I want to see how this operates. Man, I would love to get a flyer on this thing and just bring it along on something that is like a really run and gun kind of situation, like we do, with the a Panasonic X2000 when we do like Baja and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Does that really work in that? Can I do event coverage with something like this?
Well, I'm kind of curious to see if it's also going to be something for parents who are like, my Zoom's okay, my digital's okay, but I'm halfway back in the auditorium, or I'm
shooting the soccer game, right?
Exactly, exactly. Because that is like I said, that is a major zoom that you're getting there. So again, it's niche, it's expensive, it's definitely not for everybody. But if it's something that you need, it's actually I think they gave in times X, but I don't see it on the main page here.
So this is, so they said they unveiled it. So they unveiled the details of this thing today, March 24th, but this isn't the Kickstarter. This is access to the Kickstarter that will come at a later date that undisclosed, I believe.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and you do have to sign up for the reach. Yeah.
Way to create a bit of a. I wish I would have thought of this for selling my event tickets. So. Yeah,
it says high quality optical zoom up to 24x.
Well,
and so now they've already, like I said, they already have a 240 millimeter lens. That was their first super telephoto they did back in 2024. They raised $400,000 for it and had 1,200 backers.
And they're using this as a pre-order mechanism and everything,
Exactly.
right? Like,
Yeah.
like a lot of these companies
Yeah,
are doing this. Like Kickstarter's kind of sorted into that. I mean, if you are still starting like something new, and I think they have a lot of things because I remember I sat. It was not them, Indiegogo. I think I sat in a it was near the Tech Council over there in that just the other end, this side of or the other side of Hot Metal Bridge. They were talking about like they have some assistive like organizing for because the talk was specifically for hardware like this, right? For people that are inventing things, making technical things, making objects. Plus, I mean, you do have fast 3D printing and everything for something like this too. So it really is kind of a different world than even when we looked back then, which is really fascinating, honestly. So
yeah.
Very cool. So that's the Reflex, and that is the, what was it again? it's the Ultra Telephoto Pilot.
Oh, yes.
Yes, for that. So some more cool stuff, and I know you keep an eye on it, and you guys talk about it over the iPhoneography podcast, and you have a lot of great conversations about that. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. Another thing where I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to jump into something like this. I wish I had more expendable income to test these things.
100% agree.
my level is spending $100 for most of a Virtual Boy that my Switch will go into, so I can play these terrible red games in 3D from 30 years ago. Oof! I still gotta play that Mario Clash and try that out. My awesome thing of the week is, hey, I am a big fan, have become a big fan. I just finished actually this morning the second audiobook for Dungeon Crawler Carl, and I had my wife buy the physical book because she doesn't do audiobooks. So we're kind of all in. Katie and my friend Aaron are kind of guiding me through the world of Dungeon Crawler Carl and everything. And again, I'm seeing everybody. The guy behind me, or guy beside me, heading out to Indianapolis last month. Had the book and just started it when I was starting the first audio book and everything like that. And I caught wind that there was a graphic novel. I'm like, oh, cool. Saw the pre-order and then saw, kind of went back to it because it's coming out in May. If you want to get a physical version of the Dungeon Crawler Carl book. But it turns out it was from a platform called, it says, collecting the Webtoon series. I'm like, okay, what's Webtoons? And what I found was a website. And again, I've actually never gone to the .com, so I'm bringing it up here for the site for you guys for the first time.
Oh.
I've been using the app, okay. Which does carry Dungeon Crawler Carl. And they're like kind of short. They were release them on a weekly basis, although they haven't for a couple months. And if you're getting into it for Dungeon Crawler Carl, I would say the first half of the first book is available in graphic novel form, and it hasn't been updated for a few months. So if it kind of helps you kind of wrap your head around what you're reading, which is something I need. Again, we've talked about, like, I'm not good with audiobooks that are fiction. I do a lot of biographies and nonfiction books, business, social media kind of books, things like that, video books, and in audiobook form. So I couldn't get into the Harry Potters, couldn't get into some other stuff. And this was my first foray to do that. It's a little bit of a struggle for me, but I'm doing pretty okay with it, I think. Again, I finished 2 books, and I'm excited to start the third one. I got some flights coming up here, which, as long as those go okay with things. I got some long flights to Texas and Arizona that I'll be catching up on, hopefully getting through book 3. And Audible's been great for that. So this is my awesome thing of the week is Webtoons, where they do have that graphic novel, and it's not just like cool because it has that, and you can see it's a lot of that manga. There's a word for it I never remember, but there's like a Korean manga style that's represented a lot in here too, right? And you see it's a lot of kind of alternative stuff, including alternative lifestyle, I would say, stuff too, as a part of this. So it's a little bit of everything. It does have Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, 20th Century Fox represented on here as well. So there is like X-Men, there is like Darth Vader Star Wars stuff, there's like Aliens and Predator stuff, there's like Mickey and F1 Racing, I think this is Lilo and Stitch looking stuff. So like and the cool thing about it is, and let me see if I can bring it up here on screen for you. It's a vertical format. Oh, that's that's Tony in Wes Anderson shot over there. So, but it's very vertical. And as I was reading these, every once in a while, I'm just like, wait, do I hear something again? Like I'm checking out most of this in like an Airbnb. So I was kind of, kind of like confused on some things. I'm like, where's that music coming from? Is that the neighbors? But basically it is, is my, I think my AirPlay is completely messed up. And I'm not going to be able to show you anything. So I'll just do it physically here. It's a very vertical format. So, and I hate, I'm going to click on something really random here and read that. But like there's actually like kind of video trailers for things, but it is like an upslide. And again, if you use Hoopla or something else with comic books, like it's a very frame by frame thing and it's still very awkward. This is, again, it's just very, very vertical. I hope this isn't an NSFW comic book, by the way, that I'm scrolling through blindly.
The pictures aren't, and I'm not able.
Yeah, it looks pretty clear. It looks pretty standard right now. Yeah. Hopefully they'll get sexy time in the first few pages. But you see the format if you're on video. It's a very vertical kind of thing. The panels are non-standard, and then a lot of times, let's see if it's doing it here. If I turn off my music thing, okay, it's not doing on this one, but on some of them, because I remember I was going through it and I'm like, why I was trying to flip through it and I'm like, why is my music or audiobook going out? There's a music player in a lot of these. So like I'm scrolling, and it's not always immediate either. It's like sometimes
so is it like mood music?
It's kind of mood music, epic music in the background. And again, the Dungeon Crawler Carl is like the biggest thing that I've worked with so far. So that's the only real experience I have with it, which has been a pretty decent experience. I'm afraid I'm going to do this and get really screwed up on my order though.
I'll say this: I do love some of the titles here.
Yeah.
Cry, or better yet, beg.
Yeah, there's a lot of RPG
Control,
stuff.
Alt, resign.
Yes, exactly.
Our contract marriage ends here.
And again, like, some of the purists on Dungeon Crawler Carl, like I know there's a lot of artwork out there now. There's like the 8th book is coming out in May, which is a pretty big deal. And it's a very like, hey, I didn't really, the style of Carl is not really what I imagine if I'm listening to the audiobook with that voice, right? But it does help me kind of wrap my head around some of the concepts that it's putting out there. Not being a heavy D&D person, by the way, this is a heavy D&D book, in sort of a way. But let me just spoil the first, third of the first book. It's a guy that gets, no, you know what? I don't even know if I can explain it in under a minute. End of the world stuff. Everything gets pulled underground. You survived. Aliens apparently owned a planet and seeded it with human life, and they're repoing all the materials on the planet. And as part of that, you get the option as a survivor to go down a staircase that appears out of nowhere into an 18-level dungeon. And it's a TV show reality kind of situation with basically all the populations that's left on Earth. And every floor is different. And I just got through the 3rd floor in the books after 2 books. So, and there's 8 floors, or there's 8 books so far. And I think, I forget, I think I heard 10 or 15. Somebody told me how many books were intended recently, but it's going to be a lot. By the way, this is a series that's been picked up by Seth MacFarlane. And you were stuck out in the cold with no shoes on, or at least your ex-girlfriend's shoes that were too small, and which means you have no shoes in the dungeon, and you're wearing heart boxers, and you have a cat that now can talk because of reasons that we lovingly call Princess Donut. And I won't even get to the dinosaur yet. Anyways, if you look around, you're gonna find the artwork. It says, I was looking around I found t-shirts on Amazon the other day, and I was like, oh, this is great. And then I found something. I was like, I did not get to that in the books yet. That's very interesting. So, and again, I went in just absolutely blind on these things, right? Just absolutely, just I knew very little other than there's something dungeon, something. I've seen the books at Barnes and Noble and everything. So, but no, the webtoon's it's free for the most part. It seems to be like you buy tokens, and from what I can tell, you buy the tokens to, like, say you have a weekly series. You can wait for that to kind of be open up to the public freely, or if you need to read that right away when it gets released because you're really into it, you can use these tokens that you pay money for. So that's kind of it's a freemium model from what I can tell. I haven't run into anything where it says, and I just turned my notifications on yesterday because I want to know when they release a new one, because I don't see any sign of it. I have to do some research to see if they're continuing it. So but yeah, I know it does say there's like Disney Marvel stuff, but there's literally like 5 books for Marvel, like 4 for Star Wars, like things like that. There's not a lot on there but it does seem like it is a lot of kind of original makers and things like that. So if you want to get into it, and it's a lot of if you like manga in general, I think this is something to dig into. Nothing that Cinderella Boy is one of them. It's the only thing the Omniscient Reader. The titles are really cuffing Cupid. I wonder what that one's about. Superfish. But yeah, so it was really cool. Again, it's been an interesting experience checking that out. And you can kind of pop in there. And everything's like kind of ranked. So like kind of the best stuff is getting, pulled to the surface. Supernatural, fantasy, heartwarming is one of them. Romance, slice of life is another one of them. So it's some nice reads. So that's webtoons.com if you want to check it out. Apps on your both phone web stores, and you can dive into that. Or even if you just want to see what the Dungeon Crawler Carl is about, this would be the least heavy way to get into it. I actually recommend like reading the comic and then seeing like, okay, I think I want to know more. and maybe hop into some of the books.
Yeah, I actually read a little Wikipedia on Dungeon Crawler Carl. I heard it, don't know much about it. Mm-hmm. And when you see like book 1, 18 hours, book 2, 22 hours, I imagine that's the audiobook.
No, yeah.
Book 2 is 12. Not a quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. And they get bigger. They get bigger.
Yeah.
So it was like 16 for the first, 12 for the second. It gets up to like 26 hours for some later books. Katie warned me that the books get thicker as you go. So I'm really interested in that. And like every floor is an entire like ecosystem and different rules and all that kind of stuff. For the NPCs and everything. So it's sci-fi mixed with like Dungeons and Dragons a little bit. They reference a lot of that stuff with some video game elements to it. It does. I was talking to somebody that said it feels very Ready Player One. I'm so sad I'm talking about this today and Katie's not here. so I'm really interested to see what she thinks of what I kind of dived into. I'm sure I'm forgetting some stuff, but Matt Dittman is the author. Another book that he's put out that I know she's going through or is mostly through right now. It's of what I understand is maybe a similar vein is Project Bounce House is the other one. There is a lit RPG book series. Apparently this is a thing too. It's called a lit RPG, literary role-playing games, kind of thing. So I guess you would call it just books based on like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of system, kind of things, which it is really. They get I can tell you in the audiobook, there's like 2 hours of just like one guy telling you the rules of the game. So, which there are a lot. This is why I don't get into Dungeons and Dragons as much, because I just feel like there's too much and I never knew what was going on. I played more Vampire the Dark Ages than anything, just because that's the group I got into later with my coworkers. But other than that, either way, yeah. Go check those out. Webtoons.com. Get a little bite of that and check out, I guess, Side Off something is Dungeon Crawler Carl, which I'm sure we'll talk a lot more. Because I think if you don't know about it yet, you're going to know a lot about it really soon when they release the series. And everybody's going to do the thing like just happened with Project Hail Mary, which is another thing I can talk about maybe on Patreon. And because I'm really geeked about down that one because we watched that last night. And it's very, 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 very good. But of course the book is out, and there is the debate of you should have listened to the book before you saw the movie. And it's like, you know what? I want to watch the movie and not know what's going to go on in the movie and have that experience. And I'm really glad I did. So, and maybe I'll check out the book later when I'm done with these 8, 9, whatever books of Dungeon Crawler Carl. So there's that. You know, somebody who is also reading Dungeon Crawler Carl and has been poking about it, and actually is the one that told me to do Hail Mary, the book, before the movie. I said, I'm not getting through that this weekend, is our friend Chachi, and he has a video game minute.
Hey kids, welcome back to the Chachi Says Video Game Minute. Here's as much video game news that I can cover in about a minute. Pittsburgh Police teamed up with the Pittsburgh Arcade Collective for the first ever Pinball with Police at UPMC Children's Hospital. They brought in 8 full-size pinball machines and had some much-needed fun time with the children receiving treatments and their families. A Minecraft world is being created at Chessington World of Adventures in Greater London. The world will feature the first ever Minecraft roller coaster, the world's biggest Minecraft shop, Minecraft-themed food, and interactive adventures. The area is scheduled to open in 2027. And lastly, the LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight game has changed its release date to a full week earlier. Originally scheduled for May 29th release, it's now coming out on May 22nd. No reason was given, but who cares why? Thanks for watching this week's Chachi Says Video Game Minute. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Chachi, for that video game minute. And thank you to our Patreon supporters at patreon.com/AwesomeCast, including our friends Brian Crawford, Cynthia Klosky, John DeGore, and Dave Ponder. And you can use code Dave26 at gcxc.com/eventspa for a discounted registration for races. Oh, wait, look what you got right there. Yeah, GCXC. Look at, you got the hat.
I got the tassel cap from this year's Frigid 5 Miler with the abominable snowman on it.
You be tosslin'.
Baby, tosslin'.
Oh boy. Hey, do you want to get into you want to discover something with me that I saw on an ad, and I pulled the website so we could look at it later because it looked really fun?
Sure.
This is a new to me thing, and I want to pull up here. No, this ad was actually before one of the movies. Okay, I saw 3 movies. I was catching up because I haven't watched movies for like a month, and so I went and saw Hail Mary last night, and then we did a double feature of Hoppers and Ready or Not 2, which are both very, very fun. Also, seeing Hoppers back to back with Ready or Not 2 were the complete opposite experiences, which were both delightful. So they like to explode people in Ready or Not. If you haven't watched the first one, spoiler alert.
No.
It is hilarious. It's a slasher thriller, kind of thing, but it's kind of a fun concept. So this is over at board.fun, and we've seen, over these years from 2010 when we started this, I remember the virtual game board, the 3D game board was a lot of things that we talked with somebody not in the last couple years that was part of a company that did like that virtual pop-up kind of game board for like we were talking about like the Tony Stark table kind of concept, right? This is not that, by the way, but it feels akin to that. So it's just called Board, as in board games, board game feel, video game magic. So the idea is it is an interactive surface. There are physical objects you use on top of it. Oh God, that's very spinny. But the idea is you use physical objects on the board to play your games. And again, board games, there's like an asteroids game that was shown there, and they're making bubbles with these things, and it's a very interesting kind of concept. It's looks like it's really trying to kind of supplement that family game night board game experience, but now I don't have a bunch of boxes of games I never get to in my closet. So it's
just a matter of the pieces, and
I think the pieces, like I don't know if the pieces will come with it. We'll investigate that here in a moment. But again, and the games they're not like brand games or anything, but they're like kind of some okay, so they come with there's kind of packs, it looks like, that for each game. Like there's a daily build which looks like a Tetris kind of thing, right? So and it kind of gives you like a pattern, and then you use the blocks to kind of fit in the pattern. for instance, right? Like I feel like I've done a game like this before. So there's a lot of
There were games like that on the iPad.
Mm-hmm.
There were Disney games that you had to buy the specific character and you put
That's
it on
right.
there.
Yeah.
And it would play along. And then I think for just a reason, the iPad was either too small because, it was only 11 inches, 10 inches. And this is significantly bigger. This is 24 inch. So this is big enough to have multiple people use it, where an iPad kind of isn't, or one at a time. It's really hard to have two use it at once.
Well, and this is how far we've gone with technology, right? So this starts at $399, which is about the price of an iPad to begin with, which is kind of a comparable thing that you're talking about, like a regular iPad. So it includes the board, which is a 24-inch interactive display that you put on your table, and it includes the objects for two of the games, Chop Chop and Astro Game Collection, I guess, which like 6 games are like kind of a retro game kind of thing, including Asteroids that we kind of talked about. So yeah, and it's talking about you plug it in, you pick the game, you place a piece, and you can buy more games to expand your library from there. So it is Bluetooth, it is Wi-Fi 6, it's anti-glare, has stereo speakers built in, USB-C and micro SD.
Yeah, I'm also looking in they just like the retro arcade games come included.
Yep.
If you go over to the games link, but if you want to have something other than the built-in games, like for Chop Chop, it says if you like Gopher Cook, you'll like that's included. But Save the Bloogs, so if you love Lemmings, you'll like that. That is $35.
Yeah. They looks like they range from about 45 to 35. So you get the collection of 50, physical things that would go, with that. And you're not just buying like a bunch of plastic, you're buying the game itself as well. So that seems like, it just kind of it all comes together. So there's not a whole lot of games, but there's enough that they're kind of interesting for now, or maybe there's just more coming or something like this, because there's a lot more at the bottom here that are listed. It's a really interesting concept. I would be worried about continual support, since I don't know. Let's see if it says here what company's behind it. And again, this is kind of like an open discovery here. Harris Hill Products Inc., the DBA board, doing business as board, says this thing. Again, I don't know how long it's going to be supported. Maybe you're not worried about that in the long run. But it's a really interesting concept. And for $400, that's not bad, actually.
Yeah. Also, I'm assuming it's just an Android tablet.
Probably.
It's probably just a basic Android tablet that they put stuff on top of, or there's some like open and not Android Google based, but the open source Android version. Because a lot of these tablets that they just use as their base, and then they can build things on top of it, so they don't have to start from scratch.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense that's probably what they're doing. So, because who's going to want to build an operating system for something like this? So, I couldn't imagine. I'd like to do a little bit more research and kind of find out a little more about this. But in the meantime, so board.fun, if you want to discover that, if you get your hands on one, had a friend to play with or something like this, I'm gonna ask. I'm hitting the research department. So, but board.fun. Again, it was just a random thing. I said, listen, the only place I see ads is when I pay money to go see a movie in a theater. So, it is a heavily customized version of Android on this one.
Okay.
So that is true, which is Linux. I asked if it was doing Linux. So, nothing really kind of sticks out other than it's Unity based, which is a pretty standard video game building platform that was really targeted at the mobile platform. So that's pretty cool. So go check it out. Board.fun if you want to check it out. Boo Sorg hates books, says our fan Panubis in the Instagram chat. Thank you for that. See you Friday at Pit Fight. I love books. I don't hate books. I love comic books. I'm really good at reading comic books. I just I can't. I've tried. Listen. Some people just can't book. Okay. What do you want to get into? NASA has a change of plans.
Yeah. So this just came out, I believe, yesterday.
Okay.
So the moon mission originally was
Oh.
supposed to be, they launched to the moon to a gateway, a gateway, um, uh, my brain just
I
went.
considered it a slingshot.
Yeah, well, no, it was a slingshot, but was supposed to go to a gateway, would orbit at the moon.
Yes.
And then you would transfer over to a ship that just went up and down between the gateway and the moon.
Yes.
Well, they decided the gateway wasn't worth it.
Oh, it wasn't worth it.
It's not working. It's taking too long. We're scrapping it, even though part of it's
Okay.
already built. So what they're going to do is use everything that they learned and put money towards to build a lunar base.
Okay.
So it will be more of, we're going to launch from Earth to the moon, land from that, and then come back up. So there's not going to be like a lunar space station. That's I don't know why I blanked on space station, but there's not going to be a lunar space station. So your rocket's going to come from Earth, go around, land, come up, and go back. So, and they're going to try to increase the frequency, but they're also said we're going to put an additional $20 billion over like 7 years. I think it was what it said, which
So
20 billion is a lot of money, but 20 billion over 7 years for building a lunar base.
And this includes significant increase in cadence of lander missions through commercial lunar payload services and other programs.
Right.
This is phase 1 running 26 to 28. So, there's going to be, I think they're definitely opening this up generally to commercial, right? I'm trying to see, so what exactly are we doing on the moon? Is this for research? It's
research. It's both biological research and manufacturing research and astronomy research.
Okay.
So and just getting to know the moon a little bit better, because you figure it's been over 50 years since we've been to the moon.
We literally don't know much about the moon. So,
we know
like we know a lot, but not enough. Not enough to.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like
we don't have a lot of moon rocks either.
No.
Because to carry them back to the Earth is a lot of expenditure of fuel and everything else. So we can maybe find out what's more about the moon there.
And this is almost a testing ground to understanding a separate lunar or a separate orbital, separate not structure.
Yeah,
what am I looking for? Going
like
somewhere else and understanding it, right?
Exactly.
Versus, before we do the big one and the more dangerous one when we go to the, inevitably a Mars mission or something, right?
Right.
So,
right. Now, the thing that concerns me is they're making this change now.
Mm-hmm.
Phase 1 only runs through 2028.
Yes.
Phase 2 starts in 2029.
Sure.
What happens if there's a new administration that completely disagrees with what's going on?
Just decides we're not going to do this.
It's like, no, we actually want this
is this just NASA? Are we working along with people like the International Space Station? Like,
no, this is NASA.
Okay, straight up
pretty
NASA.
much, yeah.
Right.
But we're doing very little cross country working together anymore.
Yeah, we kind of backed off on that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Which means the inevitability that one of the other countries is like China's seems to be progressing.
Yeah,
as
China's. The idea is China is going for a lunar landing by 2030.
So if that becomes a threat of some sort, you better believe we'll find the money for it, just like most things. So, oh boy. Jay and Silent Bob's chronic blunt punch understands the assignment, says IGN. It is a beat 'em up side scroller kind of thing. My bag. Yes, I am 17 or older. IGN. I love to watch your video. And it is, there was a Mall Mayhem or something. That was kind of based on the Clerks, and it was like kind of like a more 8-bit, 16-bit kind of thing. This is more kind of big animated sprites kind of thing. A little more cartoonish, kind of side scroller. But you're Jay or Bob, and you do get superpowers as Bluntman and Chronic. It is coming out on 4/20, which If you get it, if you get it, you get it. It's really oddball. It's I'm getting some of these references here. So, oh, you have assist powers with the other clerks and stuff too. So,
Oh my.
but yeah, there's a lot of moving, and it looks like a moving of interesting body parts in that last deal too. So there he is as is he Blunt Man or Chronic? I believe he is Chronic. I don't know. I just say them together and I always forget which one's which. It's the tag team syndrome that I talk about on the Irish show. But yeah, just the references from Dogma I'm noticing in there. This is going to be a day one buy on me. I don't care how much it is. But it's 45 minutes chunk of the main story. This is on the demo that they did. So, but yeah, I love these side scrollers. I know they're not long or anything like that, but like I love the pick up and play of all of them. Like I'm still playing a little bit of the Marvel Cosmic Invasion and things like that too. So, all right, you asked a question here. Is this question for Patreon or on show? It's bolded.
Well, it's bolded by accident.
Okay, what is the question that you were posing here, Dave?
Well, would you let Claude, which is Anthropic's AI chatbot, control your computer and do things for you? So we're talking more than just asking questions, but now saying, oh, I want you to open up this file and send it to so-and-so. And then it would open the file and then send it to so-and-so.
We're seeing a lot more of these
automatically.
Like OpenClaw is one of these that that kind of does the you'll hear the word agentic, which means that, hey, can you like go send an email? It'll open up your email, type it up, and send it kind of situation, right? Yeah. So you're seeing,
or do this, or it's basically
go make me a reservation at this.
Assistant.
Go make the
this
reservation.
This is your personal assistant.
Yeah.
And unlike other AI or other things that are kind of built in where they always stop and they say, okay, do you want to continue with the purchase? You're just letting it go. And by the way, you're letting it do it on your computer, not just in a in a mobile app.
It has access to everything.
Yeah. And the thing is, it not only that does it, you say, oh, get access to this and this and this. Well, you may give it access to a particular program, but that program needs access to another program to do what you asked. Well, it now all of a sudden has access to that other program.
Like this one is like, I have 150 pictures on my desktop. Can you batch crop them? You know, kind of thing. But man, like things where I guess you're not interested in you know, having a human eye on it. Hey, I just need these to be square. I don't care. You know, because I know what they are, and I know if I square them, it can't really be screwed up for the most part, right? So, but yeah, that's interesting. So
this is also, how much do you trust your AI not to mess up?
And is it a task that, like, I've heard of people say, yeah, I tried to buy this or something like that, you know, because I gave it access to my bank account or something like that, you know. And then also we keep hearing these stories, and again, I take them with a little grain of salt, but things are just like, it decided that it needed to do this, which is not what I needed, but it thought it knew better than me, you know, which already sounds like half of the sci-fi movies we watch. So, you know, in this case, you know, it's you know, it'll look for the right tools.
It's a little unnerving.
It looks like the task via connectors with apps like Google Calendar or Slack, if the tool or connector isn't available.
It will actually type, if there's no API, it will actually move your mouse and type, simulating a human being at the keyboard to actually get it done.
Wasn't Windows doing something like this too with Copilot?
It was similar. Yes, they were doing basically a keylogger, and the idea was it was supposed to be like a time machine thing where Windows to see exactly what you did and it can undo it.
It could undo it, and plus it also understood. So when it's like, hey, when did I talk to so-and-so about this thing? And it'll say, oh, you did this because it's been logging your keystrokes and it has all that information to parse.
And there was enough kickback where Microsoft said, yeah, we're just going to get rid of that for now.
Yeah, because it was like,
we're getting rid of all the data.
It was a keylogger, plus I believe it was taking periodic screenshots of your computer, right? Which could be sketchy too. So this is something where I feel like I would use it if I had a like sort of a black box to use. I know I don't do X kind of work on here or something like that, but the problem is I don't operate that way. Everything's kind of everywhere all at once for me. You know, my work computer is also the computer that I just surf, you know, Facebook on or something, you know.
Exactly.
So now if you were separating those tasks and say, I just need to take care of this, I'm just working on my social media on this computer, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Does it have hooks to this, and this accounts? Like, you know, I feel like...
But I would say no one does that.
Nobody does that.
Small companies, you know, companies which are single-digit people, you know, like Sorgatron Media, you don't have the resources to have multiple computers.
No,
you're doubling, and larger companies like mine, where we do have hundreds of people are going to go online to Facebook or to YouTube on their work computer anyway, or pay bills on their work computer, even though it's should you not. People are going to do it.
It's such a peculiar unknown that I don't like. The trust isn't there yet.
No.
You know, do you want, it's like, okay, give a stranger access to everything you have, as Tony is sitting here on all my social medias, tweeting the show right now in the studio, by the way, which also is something that I have to highly consider, right? I was like, okay, I'm giving access to all these things. I you know, do I trust them to not do anything weird on there, right? You know, because I've had that before. I've had, back before social media, when we had a blog, somebody had a very personal bashing you know, blog posts, and we had to be like, yo, you can't be a part of this anymore. You know, like, you know, that's the same thing, you know, when they always talk about, hey, just have somebody from, like, get on Fiverr and have somebody from Pakistan like be your personal assistant, and which means I have to give them access to everything that I need done, right? Which scares the bejesus out of me when it comes to those kinds of things. If I can't trust a person to do it, or, you know, a person from who knows where to do it, or whatever the case may be, like, I'm not going to trust an AI to do it, you know.
And it's similar to the story from a couple of weeks ago where they found out that Meta glasses, to train Meta glasses, they were actually having people in, I believe, Nigeria or Kenya physically look at your images and say what it is, so that would train it that way. People are like, whoa, this is AI. This should be computer. Why is there someone in Africa, you know,
which is disclosed somewhere, I'm sure. Yeah, it's somewhere in the text, of course. But you know, we barely trust the companies with the stuff that we can see. You know, so man, I think it's an interesting experiment. I think if you have some protections with you, you don't have anything sensitive on your computer that accident says, hey, these look like good pictures, and it's like very private pictures or something, you know, for some reason. You know, why'd you put all my pictures of my receipts and my bank statements up on Twitter along with the social media posts? That's such a weird choice that you decided to make, right? So, you know, like, I worry about that as it is now, because, you know, there's things where it's like, oh, hey, show me, you know, I'm going to show you like the history of your photos. It was like, okay, you're going to show me like Red Robin receipt from 2018 for some reason one day. Like, they used to do that. Honestly, some of those used to do that.
Oh yeah.
They seem a lot smarter about it now and say, hey, I see there's a receipt. You want me to put this in a different folder or delete it or something? Or, hey, I see all these are screenshots. You know, let's not, you know, do that. So that's come around generally, but still, like, not there. Like, these guys have a lot of work. I don't know if they know it. I don't know if the higher ends on these know it, but they got a lot of work to get.
That's the other
trust amongst the consumers. I mean, some just don't know and just sign every TOS, and I mean, most of us do, but yeah.
We also don't have a choice, but I would say a lot of the developers,
it's always a choice,
are not end users. They're not even close to the majority of end users, so they're going to think about completely differently.
If they're doing something, you know, some of these guys are using for coding and things like that, they're already doing this. You know what I mean? They're already have something in a box that they can just be okay with. So, you know, allegedly. So, either way, I think those are interesting. You know, we'll see what happens with those. So, what else do you want to talk about here before we get out of here?
Well, we'll do something positive.
Okay, let's do that.
So this is the TikTok. Now, this person, I'm sorry, go ahead.
This is the TikTok. I thought
Yeah, the TikTok story. I meant the
I
TikTok
thought we were
story.
just
I'm
saying
sorry.
it in a fun way.
It is the TikTok, like the Walmart and the Facebook. Hello, fellow children. So this is the TikTok story. This person trying to learn Spanish and started to just use it day to day. And her story
This is Kimmy Reina
Yes.
on
Yes.
the TikTok.
Yes. And she started off by saying "Mira mira un gatecito." And it's all, you know, like her a lot of times dealing with it's. And the nice thing is it is captioned, and at least on the app it's also translated in the caption. So it's actually, you can, you know, the easiest way a lot of times to, you know, learn a language is to see it being used. And plus, it's cats on the internet.
Yes. Got my
You know.
attention.
And it's her two cats in the house. It's the cats outside, who she nicknamed Senorita Calcetines for the black and white one with socks, and Senor de la Noche for the all black cat.
Nice. Nice.
And it's again, there's so much annoying, depressing stuff out there in social media. And like I said, she didn't start this to do anything. She was like, hey, I'll do this. And then she started to do it, started to get popular. She wrote a book about it. So it just kind of took off as far as I can tell, just an organic taking off of something that people had interest in.
Interesting. So, I mean, are you finding yourself, like, so you think this is a tool, like you're learning Spanish from this? Because she's talking about animals, so that kind of helps.
Right. And what going around, and it, you know, honestly, it does help in terms of, I recognize a lot of the words because of the 1,400 day streak I have on Duolingo.
Oh, that helps too. I think you kind of need that. Well, I think that's it, because between you got this, I've been trying to watch a lot more AAA on WWE. Also, I appreciate that they're letting people cut promos in their native languages on like WWE Raw and things. So I feel like I have kind of a word exposure kind of thing going on here. I think if I was still on Duolingo consistently, I'd be catching more of that, right? So, but it is kind of like, I kind of appreciate that immersiveness. And I feel like it's more accessible for us to do that with AAA than it has been for, like, I don't know, New Japan Wrestling. So
it's also Spanish for an average American person who only learned English growing up. Spanish would be an easier language, I think, because they're closer related than Japanese is to English. Maybe, my guess.
For Japanese, you talking about for the wrestling?
Well, I'm talking about, like, if you're just trying to pick up someone talking in Japanese.
Yeah, it's kind of a different animal. It's a really hard translation, and I think for both sides. So, because I know there's some people we know that might be on wrestling shows that were trying to learn Japanese and said it was very, very, very difficult. So, but anyways, not somebody that did things the easy way, let's say, put it that way, but they did works very, very well for them. But anyways,
well, I do have one more story I want to do real quick.
Go ahead.
On the top part for the Women's History Month. So this is about both a woman pioneer in the space, and this is back in Apollo days, and a badass. So this woman was working on code for Apollo 11. Okay. She went to the office and she was pregnant. Okay. When it was time to go to the hospital, she took with her a computer printout of the problem she was working on. So she was working on it while in labor. Later, she called her boss and said, oh, the problem solved, and yes, the baby's born. and there she is back in the
This is Judith Love Cohen.
Cohen. And the baby that she gave birth to while working on all this is Jack Black.
Wait, what?
That's Jack Black's mother.
Oh, you never hear about that.
No.
Jack Black of Tenacious D, the voice of Bowser in the Mario movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's her fourth child.
Sure.
That was her fourth child from second marriage.
He definitely seems like a fourth child. Yeah, I'd say that's
but
about right.
She's the one who worked. She worked on guidance computer for the Minuteman missile, the abort guidance system for the lunar excursion module, ground system for orbiting tracking. Yeah. So she basically worked on the Pioneer spacecraft. That picture of her, the younger picture, was from 1959. When she worked on the Pioneer spacecraft with her husband. So, and she worked, she worked, she retired from engineering in the early 90s and then started to write books for young girls to be interested. Like, you can be an astronaut, you can be an engineer. So she did that for the remainder of her life.
Nice. Very cool.
It's just one of those, one of those stories you hear of, wow, here's someone who did an amazing thing. She delivered her kid. By the way, that kid that was delivered was Jack Black.
There you go. Double.
So yeah. Honestly, of the two, which one was cooler? Jack Black's cool, but someone who delivered someone in the middle of an engineer said, "Oh, I'm going into labor. Give me the printout. I'll get back to you after I have the kid. I'll work on it while I'm in labor."
Nice.
That's a different level.
Dave, thank you for that great ending to this awesome cast. Thank you, Chachi, for submitting again this week. Also, thank you, intern Tony, joining us in studio once again. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've seen your face not running around a ring. And thank everybody that drops in, even if it was to yell at me about books over on Instagram. So we are going to, hey, do you want to hear my thoughts on Project Hail Mary for Patreon, Dave? Until our guests for tonight come in. So I don't know how spoiler you want to be. I don't know if you've read the book or anything like that.
No, I haven't read it, but I have no problem being spoiled.
I think the spoiler things have pretty much come out in seeing the alien and stuff is like all over commercials from what I saw. So I don't think I can spoil it too much. So either way, guys, thank you so much. We'll see you on Patreon. And again, even if you're not on Patreon, we appreciate everybody to support us. But some of the content I think has been so good. We've been time releasing it on YouTube a week later. So go check out some of that extra content on there as well over on the YouTube page. So, and we are endeavoring to, because we got called out for this because I forgot about this concept I should be doing. We have returned to do, listen, I can only do so much at a time. It's either I do this newsletter concept, which didn't seem like it was biting, or I put chapters in the YouTube video so you can find things easier. Thanks to AI, I've discovered how to do that a lot easier. So now you can do that. Maybe not right away, but we try to get those in there in the first first day or so. So you can go back and hit chapters for what we're doing, what we're talking about here on the show. Thank you, everybody. I'm at Sorgatron on all social medias. We see you until next time. You are our Take two. Until next time, you are our awesome audience. Have an awesome week. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at Sorgatron.